Okay, building with Papa. All right, you see these screw pops? All right, now they're in line on this wall. I'm going to show you how to do the repair and what you need to do, a little trick that I know to be able to have your Kwikset mud adhere to it better, okay? Kwikset doesn't always adhere to the screws as well as regular mud, but I want to be able to do this where the mud dries fast enough for me to be able to do the next coat and then move on. Also, we have some gaps around this outlet, okay? So I'm going to remove the cover and I'm going to show you how to take care of that repair. Okay, the first thing you want to do is to get everything prepared. So first of all, on this outlet where this is cut too high and this is cut lower, you see this paper? That's not good. You mud there and you're going to get a blister. So you want to cut that out. Same under here. Now let's start with the screw pops. Dig in with your knife, with your blade, cut around it. Okay, now so pull out the screws. Now I got the screws out. 5 of them had popped. So now I'm going to put, you can't put them back in the same spot. Need to put them in about 1.5 inches to 2 inches away. Now, you can either use a drywall screw gun or you can get a bit like this from Home Depot, and then it will countersink the head. Okay, see, it's a bugle head screw, all right, that's designed to set the paper, not tear the paper, so it sets and then it is just below the paper but doesn't tear the paper. Okay, so we're going to go about 1.5 inches. Okay, we had a bigger problem than we thought. What happened was the drywall wasn't tight to the metal. So as I started to fix these, more began to pop. All right, so I pulled them all out and I screwed it off. All right, so now you need to go through and first make sure that they're in deep enough. You'll hear it click a little if you hit it with your knife like that one. So we're gonna get that in a little further. And now there's no clicking. All right, beautiful. All right, you wanna make sure you don't break the paper. This was metal studs, but they were a structural metal stud, so it needed self-tapping screws. This is not normal, but for this wall, that's what it was. So go through, make sure none of them are clicking. All right, now, this is a very important step. You want to cut back where you pulled out the screws, see if there's any loose paper. You need to get all of that off. Take your time and get this right so you're not having to come back and fix it again. Okay, well, as you can see, this wall had a lot more issues than we originally thought. Once I started pulling out the screws and adding the screws in 1.5 to 2 inches apart, it brought the drywall to where it needed to be. That's why the screws were popping. The drywall wasn't tight to the metal stud, which was a structural stud, so it needed self-tapping screws. So I did that, and as I did it, I started to prep all my areas. Then I found some problems around the outlet. So while you're doing it, you need to cut away all that loose paper, okay? I did it on all of them, and now I'm going to do my mix that I told you to have a little secret I want to do, to be able to do your mix with your hot mud so that it'll stick to the screws and to everything that you apply it to. So, have a little bit of water. Now what I do with my hot mud is I like to add in a white glue. This is my little secret that I do for hot mud when I'm doing repairs. Okay. Make it 50-50 or 1/3 to 2/3 water. Okay. Now I mix this up. I'm going to use my 5-minute mud. 5-minute mud. Okay, we mix this up real good. And all I'm trying to do is get this sticky mud into everywhere that it's going to be able to adhere to everything that I want. Okay, now let's let that dry. All I'm doing is filling the holes so the sticky mud will get everything stuck to it. Okay, Now everything's nice and dry. I get the sponge sander, okay? I go around in a circular motion. Okay, so now we use an all-purpose mud. And we don't need a lot. So I just put it in the pan and I mix it, just mash it together. You can add a little water if you want, but it's the finished mud. So you put it on one direction, wipe off in another. One direction, wipe off in another. One direction, wipe off in another. Okay, now I'm pulling it tight so it's just filling the hole. Okay, now this is going to take overnight to dry, and I'll sand it then at that point and do one last finish coat. Okay, now I let this dry overnight, so I'm going to just hit with my knife. I put just a little bit of mud in there, and I just mix it a little bit in there, put a little bit on, put it on one way, take it off the other. Same as I did everything else. Now around the outlet, I get mud all the way around it. Okay, now I'm going to let that dry, light sand, and paint, and you're all done. I think it came out pretty good. All right, Building with Papa. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell. See you on the next one.